Pathmonk is the AI for website conversions. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in the buying journey separates you from the competition online. Pathmonk qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by adding Pathmonk to your website in seconds, letting the artificial intelligence do all the work, and increasing conversions by 50% while you keep doing marketing as usual. Check us out on pathmonk.com. All right, everyone, welcome to today's episode of Pathmonk Presents. Today we are joined by Todd Beauchene. He's the head of growth of Revefi. Todd, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Very nice to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you, Todd. And we were just talking offline before hitting record a little bit about Revefi and what you're doing. And you told me about, your background in data. But can you give us, give myself and the audience a little bit of a background about the work you're doing at Revefi, what you guys do, and what you're all about?
Yeah. So, data platforms are becoming pretty ubiquitous. I myself spent 5 years at Snowflake in the very early days, building out the audience for that platform. And, there's other platforms like Databricks, and Google has BigQuery. And, as we've watched this continue to grow, these platforms grow, there's a need for understanding of how they actually work. And both from an operational perspective and from a cost perspective, there's huge variance that you can have based on how you're running these platforms. And Revefi is built to be the center of excellence for these platforms. And we have specific knowledge. Obviously, having spent 5 years at Snowflake, I have very specific knowledge to Snowflake, but we have experts who've been doing query optimization and other database techniques for decades now. And we offer that to our customers as a kind of a co-pilot or an autopilot for running these platforms more effectively.
Okay. And so do you feel that's because we touched on this again before hitting record, we had a bit of a chat, right? Do you have a specific vertical or type of business that you work with, the kind of, let's say, qualified to work with you guys, and what can they expect when they come to you?
So obviously, if you don't have one of the platforms that we support, and in addition to the three that I mentioned earlier, we also support AWS Redshift and some of the other things going on AWS. If you don't have one of those platforms, you're not very much of there's no reason for us to work together. You're out, unfortunately, from a Revefi perspective. So they're all cloud-based platforms, and so you need to have your data in the cloud and be looking to optimize those platforms. And so, it's a very targeted audience. It's an exciting audience because, you see vast majority of like the Fortune 100 or the Global 1000 have one of those platforms at least, and many have multiple, but it is a very targeted audience.
Right. And I'm curious though, within these companies, right, that obviously have to meet the specific criteria, who's actually reaching out to you? It's someone dealing with data. Just want to know what kind of role, let's say, you would see
Yeah,
coming through the website most often.
that's a great question. So often it's a data engineer or a data engineering manager who has concerns, but it can go all the way up to the CIO or the CDO. So with one of our best customers that's actually listed on our website, we met them at an event, and it was the CDO, and he was looking to save cost on Snowflake specifically. And we had a great conversation. And since then, we've been able to deploy and save them a large amount of money by optimizing the way that they use the platform.
Okay. And speaking of events, I know Snowflake should have one pretty big coming up, right? Is that?
Yeah, this summer it's kind of interesting. You get kind of a back-to-back in San Francisco where you have the Snowflake Summit and then the Data and AI Summit that's run by Databricks. We're going to be at both of them. So people who are on those platforms and interested in just data in general, come by our booth, and we'd love to see you. Events probably are number one. But the thing we always see is once we meet somebody in an event, they definitely come to the website. And so that's where optimizing the website becomes critical.
Right, of course. And I like this emphasis on events. You're not the first person that mentions events, right? And shaking hands and seeing people face to face, which seems like, for a while it wasn't the case at all, right? Just a few years ago. But right now it's making a comeback, and I love that people are getting together a little bit more. And for these conferences, it's a good way to connect and talk business, and whatever you're passionate about, right?
Yeah,
But yeah, go ahead.
it gives us a great targeted audience, right? And it seems
Right,
like so many times today the events are specialized. It's not just, hey, come to this event. Like AWS reInvent just kind of became overload because there were so many people. But these are very targeted. So, especially at the Snowflake and the Databricks events, you have a lot of practitioners who are coming who are looking for solutions. And it's such a crowded market around us that, there's just no way to really differentiate ourselves other than in person and showing that expertise that we have.
right. And I like that you mentioned that these people eventually will land on your website, right? So for you as a head of growth, what do you think is the role of the website when it comes to being able to attract new clients and driving growth? And I
It's
guess
really
it's a two-parted, right? Do you feel it has any specific strengths or areas that could be improved instead?
well, we definitely are early stage. So we've been around for about 2 years, and we the website can always use improvement. But right now, it's really about demonstrating what our product is capable of. We actually span a couple of different areas within that data platform footprint. And so just educating customers on what's possible. We do have a free trial available on the website. We love it when people try that out. But what we're finding is that they really want more interaction with our team before they're ready to try out our product because it's so specialized.
Okay. So they want that little bit of that know-how and expertise to be able to be maybe, be explained about a specific feature or a way something works. So I guess in a way, a demo maybe is kind of the next logical step for you guys to be able
Yeah,
to.
it's really getting introduced to our team. And our team, as much as our product is a great implementation of our team's expertise, meeting our team in person really gives us that ability to express our knowledge and kind of share with our customers and win their trust.
Right. And obviously, to be able to get to that, you would need a good converting website, right? So,
Yes.
and maybe you can draw from your experience. I know you've been at Revefi for a little while now, but you have experience in terms of looking over data, and I'm sure you've had your fair share of experience with websites in general. What do you think it makes for a great high converting website? And it could be, maybe you have tools in mind, maybe it's an approach or um, maybe a specific method that you can share with us.
Yeah, it's so interesting because having been one of the early people at Snowflake that ended up being the largest tech IPO in history, we saw the growth. Right when I joined, we had like 5 customers, and by the time I left, we had thousands and thousands of customers around the globe.
Mhm.
And really watching the evolution of that website is kind of guided. And then since then, I've been in a lot of very early stage startups, including Revefi now. And what I've seen across that experience is that really educating people on the website becomes critical because there's just so much noise out there in the market. You want to give them compelling content that gets them interested in solving the problems that they have in their business day. In fact, one of the funny things about Snowflake, I was working at Amazon in the data team when I was approached by Snowflake. And the first thing I realized was like, I need this in my everyday because of the way that they approached me. And as time went on, we were able to evolve the website to represent a lot of that expertise. And here at Revefi, we're in that same boat, is that, our product comes with a very deep expertise in that area. And we want our website to demonstrate that expertise so that, customers feel comfortable moving forward with us.
Keeping things simple, right? That kind of seems like a common theme. Um, when I ask this question, it's always messaging and positioning needs to be simple, clear, to the point. Also be part of
Yeah,
it.
it's really a journey of discovery for the customer. And at each level, you've got to kind of keep them engaged, right? So like you're right,
Right.
the top level messaging is very simple because if it's too complex, they're gonna not gonna want to keep moving forward. But you give them enough information to recognize that your company is something different that stands out from the crowd, and then you bring them down to the next level, and that can be done via your blogs. You have expertise, that you're demonstrating via your blogs. You can also, the partners that show up on your website are going to be kind of representative of technologies that people are going to be using with your tool. And so really kind of creating a website that keeps them engaged and leads them to want to engage with your team in the future.
Got it. Okay. Todd, I want to switch gears for a second, and talk about you as a leader, what you do on a day to day, and really just understanding, if you can help our audience understand what does it mean to be the head of growth of a growing startup, right? And please don't hold back. You can include the negatives too. It doesn't have to be all, I'm sure it's not all rosy at all, but what's the day in the
Yeah.
life look like for you?
It's an interesting title that we chose, Head of Growth, because really it's about two key aspects. Number one is what we've been talking about how do we attract more business? How do we get more people to come to the website to meet with our team and ultimately become customers? And the other side of that then is growing our existing customers. And there's a lot about listening to those customers. So my day is spent mostly communicating with our customers, and
Hmm.
we're a growing customer base. And as head of growth, my job is to make sure that the product meets their needs so that they can continue to, that they'll want to renew and that they'll be able to renew and get more and more value out of our product so that our revenue ultimately grows. And what we found, and I found this throughout my career, but especially here at Revefi, is that solving problems for one customer often creates a solution that's more attractive to other customers because so many customers have similar pain. And so by being a listening ear for those customers and then taking what they're doing and translating that for our engineering team to build into the product really allows us to have that growth that we would like to see in our product, in those two dimensions of bringing on more customers and then getting the customers that we have already to get more value out of the product.
Got it. Okay. And what about the challenging parts? Are there any?
Oh, there's tons. I think the biggest challenge from our side is as we listen to these customers, understanding the differences of what are the commonalities across customers and what's going to be something that we build for one customer and then no one else is interested in. And even sometimes it's clarifying what a customer really wants so that we don't build something that they said that they wanted and then we get there and it's not exactly what they wanted. And so it's really being able to kind of take what they're saying, put it through the lens of our expertise and applying that. And really the other side, I'd say from a growth perspective, especially, is just kind of differentiating the message. There's a
Hmm.
lot of noise out there. There's a lot of vendors at these events. There's a lot of, you know, activities on LinkedIn and, a lot of web traffic going in different directions. And so it's really like focusing in on the messages that resonate with people.
Got it. Okay. Um, Todd, since we're coming towards the end of the interview, I want to jump into our rapid fire question segment, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Um, so the only thing about these questions is, they're short and crisp, and then we expect also a short and crisp answer. Are you ready for
Yes.
that?
Yes.
Okay, let's do it. So, what's the last book you read?
I read Bob Mugley's The Datapreneurs. I know Bob
The
personally
any?
still. It's a good book.
Okay, okay. So, maybe rhetorical, but any connection between that and what you do on a daily basis?
100%. That book is about kind of how companies are using data to transform the way that business happens in the world. And we're part of that transformation here at Revefi.
Okay. What's one thing that Revefi is focused on at the moment the most?
Making customers successful with their data platforms.
Got it. Imagine no boundaries in technology. Okay. What's one thing that you won't fix today for your role?
I think it's just better ways to communicate with customers. Uh, Being able to listen to customers. I think as customers interact in products, being able to gather their feedback more readily.
So if you could pick one task that you do on a daily basis that's very repetitive and menial, and that you could automate it, what would it be?
I'll say this carefully. It would be the emails that I send to customers, like, auto writing the emails. Now, I've tried some automation tools, and definitely Copilot is a part of that for me. But it would be great to kind of have some automated tools for communicating.
Okay. What's one piece of advice that you would give yourself if you were to restart your journey uh, in growth today?
Always think big. Don't focus on your problems that you have today. Think about your problems that you're going to have in 6 months and try to solve those problems so that once you get there, you're not completely unprepared.
Okay. And what I hear personally is don't just focus on what's in front of you, right in front of your nose, but also have some vision, right?
Yes.
Okay. I like it. Todd, thanks for being on the show with us today. I loved our conversation, and I want to give you the last word. So, if someone forgets everything about the interview today, all the questions, all the answer, what's one thing that you should remember about the work you're doing at Revefi?
Data is, you've heard the term data is the new oil. Data is essential to any business that wants to stay ahead of their competition across all verticals, right? It's something that everybody needs, but you can waste a lot of money on data. So, we are going to help you at Revefi. We're going to help you be most efficient in how you use data and help you to get the most important data at the right time to the right people.
Perfect. What a way to close. So, if anyone wants to check you guys out, where should they go?
Just Revefi.com and the website. You can find us on LinkedIn. You can find us on X and all the social platforms.
All right, perfect. So head on over and they'll sort you guys out.
Okay, thank you so much, Rick.
Of course. Have a good one.
Thanks.